Hello and welcome to the Space Between Ideas. I'm Blaine Gates. This is the space. So we have an idea here and we have an idea here. And this is the space. Okay. What does that even mean? Space between ideas. So it's the place where I provide themes from the book Create Crucial Insight that was written by Dr. Thomas J. Buchholz. And these themes give us like this software or this structure. It gives us a way to think about things to help us to derive insight. And then we apply the insight in order to make better decisions, to create better plans, to achieve better outcomes, to seek to work toward better outcomes, to recognize the potential. And this is that space. So we were doing something here. Here we have some structure, and then we have some ideas that are going to come from this structure, the space between ideas. Now, today, day number 81, is an extremely exciting day for you. Today, you are going to get your badge number what? All right, so let's see. We have the Endeavor Elements badge. That's badge number 1. We have the State Synergies badge, number 2. We have the State Impact badge, number 3. We have the State Progress badge, number 4. We have the State Styles, Styles badge, number 5. We have the State Purposes badge, number 6. We have the State Assumptions badge, number 7. We have the State Teamwork badge, number 8. We have the State Inventiveness badge, number 9. And we have the State Drive badge, number 10. 10 badges. If you have been watching this series from the beginning, you now have 10 tools, 10 thinking tools. And, there's at least 8 themes with each of those different checklists. That's why we're on day number 81. And that's why we're going to, this is the problem. Now we have to reach 101 themes, but we only have one checklist left. So, actually, the thing is that I did write up like a whole plan for how I wanted to discuss these things. But then as we got through, most of the, as we got through about half of the checklists, then I stopped looking at that piece of paper and just started going theme by theme by theme by theme. Now, of course, you don't get the State Impact badge until the end of today's video. So there is one more theme on the State Impact checklist. But this is exciting. Day number 81. Think of it. In 20 days from now, we will be finishing up the 101-day challenge. What will happen in the next 20 days? Interesting. Yeah, so basically, I don't see a problem. I don't foresee an issue. It looks like we may have relatively, we'll see, smooth sailing from now. Well, except for the video camera, which is probably going to fall. Is it still moving or did it stop? It looks like it may have stopped. If you go to the beginning of the video, you'll notice that it's like aimed higher. So I have to make myself shorter. All right. I think we got it. All right, so today, interesting enough, what is the theme? So the description of the theme, it says summarize essentials from the above steps for later use. All right, so, if you've been working on, obviously, if you've been going through this checklist, the dream inside of the dream inside of the dream, you've gone through 4 checklists. You got four badges, 4 checklists, just to go through the one State Impact checklist. So it's likely that you have a huge amount of information, and you've put ideas in all over the place, and things are going everywhere. So you started by framing the context. It's still moving. If it goes any further, I'm going to have to stop it. So you framed the context, right? You framed the context of your situation. Then you started to develop some scenarios. Then you went through all these other checklists just to develop scenarios. And then once you figured out the scenarios, then you looked for some similarities. Now, of course, once you found the similarities, then you just cross them all out. It's like, who needs the similarities? Then next, you look at the differences. What are all the differences that we're looking at in this situation? And it's like, as you started to come up with differences, okay, then it's important to figure out, well, what's important here? What do I need to know? What are the metrics? All right, so then as soon as you listed off the metrics, then of course, then you evaluated those differences based on the metrics. All right, so if we're looking for this important point, if we're working toward this metric, if this is what we want, then, okay, now I see how the scenarios are different. Some of the scenarios are gonna help us get here. Some of the scenarios are gonna help us get here. Maybe two scenarios go to the same place, but one's faster, one's cheaper, one's more efficient, one uses more staff, less staff. You know, there's all these different factors which can help you look at the differences between scenarios. And then finally, you declare the significance. All right, so this difference is significant because of this reason. This difference is significant because this metric is how important, and because of the importance of this metric, therefore we need therefore this idea is significant. All right, so you're starting to build arguments. You have some solid arguments. All right, we have two scenarios. This is the difference. This is the metric which is most important. Therefore, this is why this difference is significant. All right, I'm just gonna have to move this. All right. And that's why we made the decision. The decision is thus. All right, so yeah, so then, just to recap the essentials. Step number 9, the last step here is to recap the essentials, just summarize the essentials. All right, so you can even write it in an email. You can say, hey guys, basically this is the context of our situation, and we looked at these 2 or 3 different scenarios, because probably you want to eliminate a couple of scenarios, because as you started to evaluate them, then you realize that 2 of them weren't that interesting. Usually just pick the first, the 2 or 3, like the ones that people are mostly thinking of when you talk about scenarios in a given context. All right, so these are the different scenarios that we were looking at. Now, of course, as you can see, these are the similar points within these scenarios, and then these are the differences between scenarios. So guys, as we started thinking about the differences, we decided that these were the metrics which were most important to us. So as you can see, according to metrics number 1, this difference is important because, according to metrics number 1, here are the differences. According to metrics number 2, here are the differences. According to metrics number 3, here are the differences. Now, if you look at the differences and you look at the metrics, then this is the significance of the differences. This is the significance of the metrics. Therefore, we made this decision. It's easy. It doesn't take 30 days of videos to get through all this. Recap the essentials. Man, 30 days. We literally went through 30 days. Went through 4 checklists. We got 10 badges. 4. It's like 40% of the time was just to come up with this simple email. Here's the context. Here's the scenarios. This is what's similar. This is what's different. Here are the metrics. Based on the metrics, here are the differences. This is why it's significant. So we made this decision. Okay? Okay. Send off the email. Easy, breezy, beautiful. So there you go. You've completed 10 checklists. There is 1 more checklist to go. Tomorrow we are going to begin the state resources checklist. Now, this is like a pretty simple checklist. I don't know how I'm going to make it more interesting, because it's basically this is like inventory, right? So we're going to be so the title, it says determine capabilities needed so that endeavors succeed. Interesting. All right, so once you've made your decision, basically you've decided on what you're going to do. We looked at the scenarios. So if you go back to the state progress, right? And so in state progress, as you remember, we have the opportunity to create assumptions. And then after we've built all of these different assumptions, then we start to look at scenarios. Now, eventually, after we've looked at scenarios, then we, what? Choose a plan. State impact is the process of choosing a plan. Now, once we've chosen that plan, then we begin to put that plan into action. Now, as you put the plan into action, wait a minute, determine capabilities needed so that endeavors succeed. So actually, this puts us way, way, way back at the very beginning of state progress. Okay, so the very, very first thing, the very bottom in shape potential, it's called resources. Resources, all right? So this is the basis. Now, I would like to say that state resources, like your resources, it's in the area of shape potential, right? So what we're doing is we're shaping the potential. We have all these resources, and we want to use these resources to achieve some type of goal. And in the process of using the resources, we will literally shape our resources, and we will create resources, and we will acquire resources, and we will earn money, which is another resource, and we will develop skills, which is a resource. So this is the whole point. It's like we want to get these resources working, moving, right? Gross domestic product. We need to produce. The country needs to produce. The world needs to produce. People produce. And this checklist helps us to understand the capabilities needed so that we can produce. This is The Space Between Ideas. I'm Blaine Gates.